a lot about horses already from Tier Zoo. I'll be telling my friends they used to run the North American server till the humans came. Let's get it.
So when the metal hit his mug, he just sunk in place. 100K Holla, chillin' Bahamas. Come home to your crib and throw in your mama.
What is good, HollaSquad? We are the latest squad on the YouTube platform. Listen, today we are back with another reaction. Y'all see what we got in the building, all right? Our horses OP. Tier Zoo done blessed the streets. Listen, Tier Zoo might be my #1 recommended channel to people I meet in this world, bro. Whether it's talking about, you know, the bats video, if you know, you know, right? Just animals in general, the bees and ants video, I've been referring to that to a lot of my friends. So shout out to Tier Zoo. They be out here coming with the knowledge, and I like that, all right? Because then I could take the knowledge, you know what I'm saying, and share it to the people. Most of the time I tell them, like, just go watch Tier Zoo, bro. You'll see. You'll see. But let's get into this. Funny video was good. What a beautiful day to be alive. Yo, that kick is crazy.
Players have a wide selection of equipment to choose from when speccing their character. Teeth, claws, stingers, spikes, each weapon has distinct advantages and disadvantages in combat. Herbivore players tend to favor highly intimidating equipment like horns and antlers. In the African meta, things are taken to the extreme, with builds like the elephant, rhino, and Cape buffalo rocking some of the most threatening tusks and horns in the entire game. So you might be surprised to learn that one of the most successful builds in the African savanna is the zebra, a build with no obvious weaponry to speak of. What is it about the zebra build that has granted it such a dominant position in the savanna? We'll answer that question and many more in today's video, which was sponsored by CuriosityStream. To answer that question, let's zoom out a bit and discuss the incredible stats and abilities of the entire equine faction, including zebras, horses, and donkeys. Let's begin with their stats. Right off the bat, it's plain to see that this is a highly mobility-centric build, with an above-average power stat to back it up. With slightly above-average intelligence and fairly poor defense, HP, and stealth stats. At first glance, you might think that these stats belong to a rush-down predator, something like a wolf or eagle, something that can overwhelm its target with speed and power, and either finish the attack before the defender has a chance to counterattack, or weave.
Horses are herbivores though, right? So
in and out of the defender's effective range, chipping away at it or tiring it out. Clearly, stats don't tell the whole story here, as all equines are herbivores. So let's delve a little deeper into the abilities and strategies that horses and all their variants utilize to survive. Seeing as their highest stat is mobility, it's no surprise that an equine player's best defense against a predator player's attack is to run away. While not technically as fast as the max speed of a top-tier predator, horse builds are able to maintain high speeds.
But do you see the gluteus maximus of that horse, all right? The difference between the horse and the gazelle is, bro, you run down on a horse and they do the kick, you're done, all right? Your whole, you know what I'm saying, jawbone, gone.
For much longer. And because of this, builds like the big cat or bear have little chance of catching them without an extremely stealthy ambush. The horse's specialized hooves grant them a bonus to burst movement speed and allow them to ignore the movement penalties of rocky terrain. The likelihood of a successful ambush is driven even lower due to the horse's solid intelligence stat, which allows it to engage in herd behaviors, such as individuals keeping watch to alert vulnerable teammates of approaching enemies. Taking shifts keeping watch is really important in a party of horse players, because horses need to spend massive amounts of time grazing. See, horses did not spec into the ruminant perk, which means they can't extract nearly as much energy from grass as builds like sheep and cows can. This was an intentional trade-off to keep the build much more lean and agile than ruminants, enabling them to dash quickly and jump great distances. But because the amount of time they need to spend feeding with their heads down is around double that of an equivalent-sized ruminant, there's no way they'd be able to avoid an ambush alone. If they do get attacked, the chase begins, and this is where one of the horse's other core abilities comes into play. Sweating. Now, I do need to address an inaccuracy I made in a previous—
I was about to say, I thought we was the only sweaters out here, bro. He told me, you know what I'm saying, dogs and then be panting to get there, you know what I'm saying?
Video, my most viewed video to date, Are Humans OP, where I say the ability to sweat is uniquely human. This isn't entirely accurate. Horses also have the ability to sweat in order to dissipate heat. However, they're nowhere near as efficient at cooling down via sweating as humans are, for one main reason: body hair. Sweat doesn't evaporate off of a horse's body as easily as it does a human, because sweat gets trapped in the hair on a horse's body. As such, Humans still absolutely crush horses in terms of thermoregulation during distance running. But sweating is still an extremely powerful ability that massively reduces a player's loss of stamina during a run, and thereby greatly increases the potential distance a player can travel. Anyways, if during a chase the horse player finds itself somehow unable to completely avoid an attack, that's when the other signature equine ability comes into play, their kick. Now, in relation to more typical combat moves, like biting, swiping, and stinging, kicking is generally seen as a rather janky attack style, mostly used as either a desperate combo breaker attempt, or the best option available to builds which haven't spec'd their characters to allow for better combat moves. Generally speaking, kicks don't deal that much damage. They're fairly telegraphed and easy to dodge, and they can even throw the user off balance if they miss. However, if we take a look at the horse's kick, we see an entirely different picture. The horse's kick hits with a force of around 2,000 psi, putting it well above the power of a jaguar bite, and just a bit below the power of a crocodile bite.
Bro, nah, see? I done seen people get kicked by horses before. I'm leaving the horses alone, alright? Plus, they thigh is at my forehead. I'm good, bro. I am good.
Both of those builds are top tier specifically because of their incredible bite damage. So having a kick of roughly equivalent power is extremely useful. However, plenty of large builds have no issue dealing damage. Moose, elk, however, plenty of large builds have no issue dealing damage.
What is that? That is a dinosaur.
Moose, elk, wildebeest, and other large ungulate builds can threaten insane damage if they connect with a charging slam. However, attacks like that are incredibly telegraphed, and most players have a decent amount of practice dodging them. In contrast, a horse's kick has incredible frame data, to the point where it's basically unreactable if you're within range, which I should add can be deceptively far. This makes approaching a defending equine player a lot more risky than most herbivore builds.
Yo, that's crazy. Hey, yo, horses really got it on lock, bruh. They defense is literally to turn around and back it up, bruh. That's crazy. Look at the zebra, bruh. Look at this.
This makes approaching a defending.
Look at this, bruh. You know what I'm saying? If I see any screenshots on the internet, bruh, I'm gonna find you, okay? All right. So don't think about it.
Equine player a lot more risky than most.
Look, my man literally turned around and backed the dumpy up on him just to get the attack off. That's crazy.
Herbivore builds. However, the horse's kick has synergies that increase its utility far beyond what can be explained by its base damage and frame data. When it comes to defending themselves from attacking carnivore players, equine builds are at a huge advantage. Let me explain. So, most herbivore builds have only two options when confronted with an adversary: fight or flight. Carnivore players know this, and tailor their strategies to take advantage of the defending player's limited options. When wolves hunt large prey, like elk, their main advantage is to break the defending player's nerve and frighten it into fleeing. They will not commit to an attack if the defending player chooses to stand and fight. However, they will continue to pressure it with bluff charges and fake-outs, hoping to bait out a defensive attack. However, as mentioned before, these counterattacks are slow enough to be dodged on reaction, quickly lowering the elk's morale, especially as the rest of its herd likely gets further and further away. It's only after a prey animal starts fleeing that these predators will actually try to deal damage by attacking the hindquarters to inflict heavy bleed buildup. In order to stop these attacks, most herbivores will once again stop and turn to face their attackers, which just resets the situation back to the first phase. Horses, zebras, and donkeys can completely thwart this plan of attack, as their kick grants them an extremely valuable option: the ability to counterattack while fleeing. Since they don't need to stop and face their attackers in order to deal damage, and because their kicks are harder to dodge than horn charges, zebras have one of the highest KD ratios against lions and hunting dogs in the game. While it might...
Man! That gave me a whole new perspective of life. I ain't really gonna dive too deep because this is a friendly family channel, all right? But boy,
not be as impressive and showy as having huge horns.
And it took the stallion to the whole new level. Meg, I see why you running through these house like a Tomb Raider. You know what I'm saying?
For antlers, there's no denying that this strategy is extremely effective at warding off attacks and escaping danger. On top of all the other benefits, kicking also allows the equine player to keep its vitals well out of reach and isn't exposing itself to a critical hit counterattack like some horn users do when they attack. It does have its limitations though. Kicking backwards requires specific positioning, which, unless your character has 360-degree vision, will make your attacks less accurate. And on the odd chance that your opponent does get in front of you and land a grab before you're able to turn away, your options to fight back will be fairly limited, and nowhere near as powerful. Now, I do want to mention that unlike many ruminant herbivores, which only have lower teeth, equine players do possess a full set of upper and lower teeth that are able to deliver quite powerful bites. So they aren't completely helpless when facing an enemy head-on. But nonetheless, the unidirectional nature of their strongest attack option does mean that some counterplay is available.
Ain't
Next,
they
let's
tails mad
discuss the
strong
advantages
too?
and disadvantages of the different variants of the equine build. We'll start with the horse, the most well-known of the bunch. Horses undoubtedly have the best base stats of the group.
Son, what is that? What is that? That joint, yo, that is the finest horse I've ever seen in my life, all right? All I'm saying is, furries, I understand a little bit now, just a little. No, I'm trolling. No, I'm joking, bro. I'm joking, but bro, look at the legs on that thing.
With higher power and more HP,
That joint is strutting, okay? Strutting.
being the most obvious things that scale with size. They've also got the fastest top speed. However, perhaps even more importantly, the horse's higher intelligence stat enables cross-species team strategies, which can lead to some incredibly broken combos. Zebras have a slightly lower base stat total, although this change isn't really enough to affect their playstyle. They're still perfectly capable of escaping attacks using their speed and endurance, and punishing overly aggressive enemies with a devastating kick. In addition to all this though, the zebra's unique stripe pattern grants it a few extra bonus perks. Because this pattern helps break up their outline and obscure their position, especially when grouped up, attacks against zebras incur a slight accuracy penalty. Surprisingly, this debuff even
That's
applies
crazy.
to insects, resulting in zebras taking significantly less damage from parasites than other similarly sized builds. In exchange though, the zebra's intelligence stat is a fair bit lower, to the point where zebras are unable to engage in the same team combos as horses. Donkeys are a bit of an outlier group, with the lowest power stat of the group. They have the highest intelligence stat, but tend to actually prefer solo play. They can be trained to become a useful party member, but they aren't naturally suited to this style of gameplay. And although they're
They said, my man said, hold on. Oh, y'all want to keep pulling? Come here. That's crazy. Fam is wild.
quite capable of dishing out serious damage with their kicks, donkey mains also tend to favor the bite move in combat, a somewhat poorly optimized build in my opinion. It's no surprise that despite horses and zebras having quite solid matchups against both canid and felid opponents, donkeys end up experiencing a fair bit of difficulty, in part due to their smaller size, but
See, I was gonna say the dude from Guts that horse looked like Griffith, but I didn't want to make that joke. All right, look, you gotta scan your demographics sometimes. That's all I was gonna say.
also because maybe they just don't realize the potential power of a well-placed kick. Of the three main equine classes, it's a tough call which one I think is the most viable. I think they're definitely all at least high B tier. Personally, I do think horses take the top spot, and
Facts,
I'd even
facts.
give them the rank of low A tier. See, despite being originally from the North American server, horses have successfully
on
established
now.
invasive populations all across the overworld, including places in Africa that even zebras have difficulty surviving in. This is the premise for the incredible documentary Stallions of the Namib Desert, which chronicles the descendants of a small group of horses abandoned by World War I soldiers a century ago. This documentary is available to watch right now on CuriosityStream, the sponsor of today's video.
That's crazy.
CuriosityStream is an amazing subscription streaming service.
Oh yeah, shout out to Curiosity. Do we got any more
Service
information?
more. It's a Thanks so much.
We might watch Curiosity Stream on like Sundays in the Discord or something. Since we doing Friday movie nights, we might do Curiosity Stream Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Get your brain swelling. All right. But bro, our horses OP facts. Now I understand though when people be like, "You're a jack," you know what I'm saying? People call them the donkey human word. You know what I'm saying? Family friendly. We need our ads, no cussing. But anyway, I understand why people say that now because their intelligence is the highest. Not saying the people that people call that to, their intelligence is the highest. But the fact that they like solo play, bro, you know what I'm saying? Just leave me alone. All right, they crack their jokes. They be by themselves. It makes sense. It makes sense, you know what I'm saying? But I learned a lot, all right? Mainly that if you want to win in a war, sometimes you got to back it up and dump it back it. We like her. And she hold on, what was that song, bro? She like to. Oh, Every Girl in the World, right? Was the name of the song? I think, bro. But anyway, y'all like, comment, subscribe, all that great stuff. Y'all let me know how y'all felt about this. Me personally, a lot of people try to go horseback riding. I'm good, all right? Because I don't want to get kicked by them things. I seen the kicks before. I might. I seen bears attack the circus person before. So no matter how much training, they will go back to, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm not approaching no horses, bro. Because if I get kicked in the face, I'm going to go from like a 5 to a 2. And I'm already struggling out here. All right? Look at my face. I'm trying to be a 10 one day, bro. I'm going to see y'all later. Peace.
Who said we ain't bout it? Test the gang and you'll get touched. She ride it, Kawasaki, roll my blunts and keep it quiet. Money is the motive, so we keep it on our mind. You'll get put in the stretcher, yellow tape